Hey, what's up guys? My name's Fonz and welcome back to our Genshin Impact Beginner's Guide. Today we're going to be talking about a couple different topics. We're going to be going over leveling, as well as the Statue of the Seven, and the reputation and Mondstadt and leeway. So let's hop right in. So we're talking about building a team comp. There's typically 4 roles that we're going to have. We're going to have a DPS, a sub DPS, a healer, and a support. Now different team comps work a little differently. You don't necessarily need each one in every single team comp, but let's talk about this team comp real quick. All right, so let's start off talking about our main DPS. Our main damage dealer is typically going to be the character that's going to be on the field most of the time doing damage. Next, let's talk about our healer. Their job is literally just to keep your team alive. Next, we have our support character, and support characters probably have the most going on out of all the roles, just because there's such a wide range of support characters. So I'm going to go over some of them really quick. You can have a character that is mainly just there to add an element to enemies so that your main DPS can trigger some sort of reaction with them. They can be there to lock down a bunch of enemies like Venti with his ult, or they might just be an off-field support where they just pop their ability, you can switch to a different character, and their ability is still doing damage while you're doing damage with your character. Now, I somehow forgot to mention this while I was actually recording this video, but a support character could also just provide a shield for the team. Lastly, you have your sub DPS. Typically, you're going to want this character to fit into your team comp rather well. You want their element to kind of work with the other elements, and they're mostly around just for extra abilities to use whenever your main DPS's abilities are on cooldown. Now let's talk about what you should be leveling each of those roles up to. Now there is going to be some exceptions for this, but keep in mind this is just in general. So let's talk about our main DPS first. We're going to want to be leveling them past level 80. You're going to hit level 80 and you're going to send them to where they can level up to level 90, and then you're going to stop. As you use them, they will keep gaining XP and slowly level up, very slowly level up. As you can see, Tartaglia is just past 80 here. And if I were to level him up all the way from 80 to 90, look how much materials it takes. It's 688,000 Mora and 172 heroes wits. Look at all this XP that it's going to take to level him up that many times. It's not worth it. So ascend them past level 80 so that you're at 80 out of 90 and leave them there. Next, let's talk about our healers and our supports. So we're going to want to get these characters typically around the same level. You're going to want to get them both to around 70 out of 80. Now that's not to say that you can't level up a support character level 80 out of 90. You're just going to be getting a little bit more value out of your main DPS having more levels. So remember, all these levels that I'm telling you to get to are kind of priorities. If you have one character that you really like, absolutely just level them through the roof. Who cares? Just keep in mind you might be wasting a little bit of resources. But yeah, for the most part, healers and support, you want to get them to level 70 out of 80. Last, let's talk about Zhao, our sub DPS. Now, depending upon how strong you want your sub DPS to be, my sub DPS is Zhao, and he's literally on the field half of the time. Half of the time it's Tartaglia, half the time it's Zhao. So depending upon how much you need to use them, I think stopping in between 70 out of 80 and 80 out of 90 is fine. I kind of met in the middle where mine's right at 80, but I haven't ascended him past there. Mostly because I haven't farmed this boss, but that's beside the point. So yeah, for the most part, I recommend trying to level up your sub DPS just as much as your main DPS. Just make sure that you're prioritizing your main DPS's leveling first. So last time we talked a little bit about leveling your character and how that's going to boost their base attack. Another important thing for your character is to level their weapons. This is also going to affect their base attack. You can see that this weapon here gives Child an additional base attack of 674. Keep in mind this is a level 95 star weapon. A level 94 star weapon typically is going to look something like this, around 510. But it's so important for your character to have a high base attack because all these substats where you're going to be getting attack percent are going to be boosting your main character's attack based off of their base attack. So the higher the base attack, the more value you're getting out of your artifacts. So when we're talking about DPS, I recommend leveling them up as much as possible and leveling up their weapon as much as possible. Getting your weapon up to level 90 seems like a lot, but it's really not that bad. Next thing I want to touch on is going to be our artifacts. So as you can see, we have 860 base attack with Diluc and 1392 attack added with our artifacts and our substats. So your artifacts actually have quite a bit of value. When we're talking about artifacts, the flower is always going to have a main stat of HP. Your feather is always going to have a main stat of flat attack, not base attack, flat attack. This goes into the green number, not the white number. That's important. And for the rest, you're going to have a bunch of different stats that you can get. Your goblet, you typically want to have the element that your character is infused with, and the hat, for the most part, when we're talking about main DPS, you either want crit rate or crit damage. But let's just talk about the sands for a second. I want to show you how important it can be to level up your artifacts and how big of an impact it can make. So you can see right here, our level 20 artifact gives us plus 46% attack, where this level 0 artifact gives us plus 7% attack. So for instance, you can see here his attack is at 2252 with that level 20 artifact. Let's pop on that level 0 and see what happens now. So he's got 7% added. We're going to go back up here. He's at 1842. He lost 400 attack from one piece being leveled up. I've seen so many accounts not level their artifacts. Please level your artifacts. Please. Trust me when I say leveling your artifacts is one of the most important things in the game. Now, I want to do a more detailed video on artifacts, so let me know what questions you have down below when we're talking about artifacts. Next, let's talk about talents and what you should be leveling them to. When it comes to your main DPS, you're going to want to have your normal attack be its priority. Keep in mind, whenever you're about to level it up, you can always see what effect it's going to have on the skill or the attacks that you're actually leveling. Hi again, this is Editing Fonz coming to give you more information that Recording Fonz seemed to forgot. Obviously, it would be great if all of our attacks could all be level 10, but it's not always that easy because it does take some grinding. So when I say prioritize, if you can get all of your talents up to level 6, try to get your normal attack up to level 6 first, while leveling up your skill and your burst at the same time. Now for healers, for the most part, you're going to want to level up the ability that actually heals you the most. Support characters, you typically want to level up whatever ability they use to support your team the most. Something like Venti being his ult, or Zhongli being his shield. And when it comes to a sub DPS, I typically prioritize their elemental skills and their bursts first, but you still want to make sure that you are leveling their normal attacks as well. But keep in mind, these are general guidelines that all characters are going to have their own specific skills that might need to be leveled more than others. For instance, a character like Xingqiu is an off-field support, so you don't need to level his normal attack at all because you're pretty much never going to be using it. So if you have a character that you're not sure what you should be focusing on leveling, I would highly recommend looking up a specific guide for that character to see what talents you should be prioritizing. Okay, back to Recording Fonz that for some reason forgets everything. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is going to be the statues of the 7 around the map. As you can see, there's a decent amount of statues of the 7 around, which are marked on your map by this little symbol. Now there's quite a few of them spread out, and you can see them around the map, and as you unlock them, they will actually unlock a bigger portion of the map so you can actually see more of the map. So I would recommend getting all these as soon as you can, just so you can fast travel to main parts of the map. But the statues of the 7 actually have their own internal level system that you shouldn't neglect. So if you come talk to the statue of the 7, you can see the worship statue button here. I've already maxed out all the rewards that I can get on these statues, but as you're leveling them up, you're going to increase your stamina. You'll unlock more adventure rank XP. You'll be getting stuff like Primo Gems, Geo and Anemo sigils that you can use at the shop in Leeway or Mondstadt. Now the way you're going to level them up is by collecting Anemoculus and Geoculus. Now you might have seen a few of these hanging around the map. These are going to come from Mondstadt and these are going to come from Leeway. Now look, this is so important. They are scattered all around the map and there's no way in game to track them besides using the compass things, which you can use, but it's just a waste of materials. The best way to track the Oculus is to go to an interactive map. I'll try to link it down below. I'm going to recommend using the Tevat interactive map. So as you can see, it shows you the full map. So with this map, you can actually track all of the Anemoculus and the Geoculus in the game. So for instance, let's say you've just come out of Mondstadt, you're running straight down that first road and you hit this point. You can see the Anemoculus and collect it, and it actually gives you a little video of where it is on the map. And keep in mind, whenever you're close to one, they'll actually show up as a little diamond on your mini map. This, in my opinion, is the best interactive map simply because of the little videos. But what I would recommend doing is keeping them all highlighted. Don't try to guess which ones you've done. Literally just work your way around the map, and as you find them, hide the pin. And then it's grayed out, you can't really see it. And then if there's one that you think you got, just go to the area. You can see on the little video where it's supposed to be. Let's say you've already collected the one at the top of this pillar. Go over, check the pillar. If it's not there, just hide the pin. We're good. But this is 100% one of the best tips I can give you, and it's so important to level the statues of 7 up just for stamina alone. I wanted you guys to see how much stamina you actually get for collecting all the Oculus on the map. So here's a side-by-side comparison of my 2 accounts. The one on the left being my AR-16 account that has not collected any, and the one on the right being my AR-55 account that has collected all of them. It's a pretty big difference. Keep in mind that sprint is also your dodge in combat, so it's super helpful in combat. The more stamina you have, the better. The other thing about statues of the 7 is that they can actually be set up to heal you automatically. It's something I didn't find out until way later in the game, and I was literally just cooking food and using food constantly. I spent 90% of my playtime hunting, but this is something I 100% recommend you take advantage of. So if you come talk to the Statue of the 7, you'll have a menu called the Statue's Blessing. This is literally a menu that I didn't know existed for so long. This will show you your party and the rest of the characters in your roster and how high their HP is at the time. Now I have it set up that whenever I hit up a Statue of the 7, it recovers me to 100% health just like that. And I can show you what that looks like. Okay, let's just kill somebody real quick. Hold on. Oof, that looked like it hurt. So you can see that our Diluc has 150 out of 18,495 HP. If we start heading up to the statue of 7, once we get close, let's see it, and it's gonna do its thing. Boom, look at that. We are full HP just for standing here, and we're collecting these stupid crystal cores. Come back here, get back here, get back here. No. Oh. So you can see that it just took half of the statue's blessing to revive Diluc from completely dead. Granted, he's got a lot of HP, but it does slowly charge over time, and this is completely free to use. So stop chowing down on all the sunsettas and apples. Just come over here and use a statue. Heals you for free. Now, at the time of recording this, I'm not 100% sure when you unlock this, so I'm going to put it on the screen somewhere, telling you when you can unlock this because it is so useful. So when you talk to each of the reputation vendors, they have some weekly activities for you to do. So you can see that they give you 3 weekly bounties and 3 weekly quests. Now, each of the bounties are going to give you a different amount of Mondstadt reputation. The 3-star one gives you 60 reputation, the 4-star gives you 80, and the 5-star gives you 100. The quests will also all give you 40 each. Also, from just exploring the map, you'll unlock more Mondstadt reputation, and doing all the world quests in Mondstadt will award you even more Mondstadt reputation. So you have the potential to gain it pretty quickly if you're doing the bounties and the quests each week. Now, as you're leveling up your reputation, you get some really awesome rewards, and I highly recommend checking them both out. Literally in Mondstadt and Leeway, pick one, just level it all the way up, and then do the other one after. It's really good. You get 3 opportunities a week to do that type of stuff. So as you're leveling up Mondstadt and Leeway reputation, you'll gain a ton of rewards, and you end up getting a really cool looking glider at the end. But I think the most important one is Mondstadt's level 5, the NRE. This is probably the best gadget in the game. So this is the NRE right here. It literally lets you bind a hotkey to eat food. So you don't have to go into your menu at all to eat food anymore. It's so useful. So you can see here I lit the ground on fire and we're slowly losing health, but it's okay because we walk out, and if I move my face and we click Z, boom, we're healed up. But yeah, that's gonna be some more tips for you guys. Let me know what you guys thought down in the comment section, what tips that you have for new players. And if you can't think of any, go down and like some of your favorites. But if you did make it this far and you are a new player, definitely drop your comments in the comment section. I read and respond to every single comment that I get. So any questions you have about the game, I'd be happy to help you with down below. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you did like it, drop a like down below. Remember, comment your questions down below and upvote the best answers that you find down below for best tips for new players. Subscribe if you're new around here and if you want to see more Genshin Impact content. And before we go, a huge shout out to the members of the channel. Thank you so much for helping make these videos possible. If you yourself want to help support the channel directly, you can by clicking the top link in the description or clicking the join button down below if you're on desktop. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you on the next one.